I want to talk about what I call big hand. Ivan Galamian, my teacher, really thought that in order to make the big concerto sound, the best position of the bow hand at the frog was to have the thumb bent and as much space as possible inside the hand. So sometimes I say, there's a little hamster in there. And if when you change to a down bow, you allow that space to cave in, the sound will not be as projecting. On the other hand, if you hold your bow extremely stiffly, then the sound will be harsh. Right. So you're looking for this big, big space, which helps the projection. And you're also looking for the ability of the fingers to give just a little bit. And that's different from the whole hand smashing down, right? Yeah. This is why sometimes I think of releasing this part of my hand at the frog instead of that part. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, this part?
Yes. Yeah, so I get rid of the little knuckle above the knuckle above the little finger, as opposed to getting a lot of smush there, because then I asphyxiated my hamster.
Oh no.
So I thought a long time when I was teaching about why he came up with this, that he didn't call it big hand, but this idea that you have as much space inside your hand as possible. And I realized you would never do anything requiring force with your hand like that, right? You would, like if you were going to hold a dumbbell, the dumbbell has a certain diameter of heft, right? And if you were going to pick up a stand, you would pick it up by the bottom part, not the top part, because this is not strong. Right. So the natural strength of the hand is that big space. So sometimes I put my thumb on the outside of the bow, and now I really have a lot of space, and you can make a huge sound, right? Try it. But don't go to the tip, because this won't work at the tip. Right. So now put your thumb inside the bow. You can put it where that little ridge is. I call that the captain's chair. Put the second finger across from it. Put the third finger far away from the second. And then put the first and little fingers also far away. Then recheck your thumb to make sure he didn't straighten, because you want that bend. And then if you can, roll the thumb away from the rest of the hand. And see how that opens up that space even more. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Now try the beginning of your Brahms. I need a bigger room. That's a great sound, right? And it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, it's pretty easy actually.
Yeah, it's actually easier than what you were doing before. So that that ability to roll your thumb away and keep that space and yet not be completely stiff, you get this great big sound that's not going to be harsh. At the tip, of course, by the time we get to the tip, what will have happened to my bow hand? Probably.
You would want to roll over a little bit, right?
Right, and extend the fingers. Right.
So the frame will kind of get smaller, maybe, or like closer
Certainly,
together.
if you do what I just did and you pick up your fingers, then you have a problem, because you're going to have to extend coming back. But I will feel the weight transferring into that part of my hand, and now my thumb will be straight. So at the tip, my thumb is straight.
Okay.
Then I bend it to come back to the frog.
Okay.
Stop. Look at where your wrist is. You got in that position where your thumb was above your wrist. So do a little more Heifetz around the middle. That's too low again. go slow, and let's do the version of this where we're not going to straighten our fingers until the middle of the bow. So I start like this. Here I straighten. Here I bend and I stay. So I'm not going to do anything like this at the frog.
Okay.
Right. Good. Right, that's pretty amazingly smooth, right?
Yeah.
So often when I do scales, I will do the first half no finger involvement whatsoever. Then the second half, and by the time I'm back in the middle, again I've got already my big hand, and already everybody's relaxed, and all that happens is my upper arm moves through, and it's so stupidly easy to have a bow change, a smooth bow change at the frog. And I can't tell you how many years I was like trying to get my fingers to relax enough to have a smooth bow change. Try it, and see how smooth you are.
And this is still with the big hand, right? With
Yeah,
all
until the
space?
middle. Pretty smooth, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is definitely something you can try any lyric passage in your Bach whatsoever, or even you're doing 5, right?
Yes.
So this is a good place because you don't want as the orchestra comes in.
Right.
Try
okay.
it.
There's a little bit of a distortion of the sound. but
Okay, you want to try it
wanna
again?
Yeah.
Good, keep going. This one too. It's gorgeous. I would like to point out to you that your sound point was perfect. You weren't even thinking about it.
I wasn't. No.
But because this is going in properly, the sounding point sort of creates itself.
Okay.
So a lot of times that's all it takes, and then you can skip that step where you watch it in the mirror for hours. I used to think that in order to have a good smooth bow at the frog, I needed to just make that change of my fingers right on, okay? But actually, I find that very difficult to do. So there are lots of exercises where you do this at the frog, and I'm not saying don't do them because they will make your hand more flexible.
Right.
I'm just saying that if you have a slow bow, don't do anything right on the change. The change has to happen before you're there, right? And now my arm is just carrying my hand. My hand is very relaxed.
So it's about at that halfway point when you start going back into this position.
From the tip to the middle, I have changed. Now the hand is not going to change anymore, and the arm just takes it across the frog.
Okay.
Bravo. Isn't that so easy?
Yeah.
I was really annoyed when I found this out because I had been doing so many things to try to get more flexible, and it turned out that it's just not the right part of the bow to do a lot of
Right.
things at that exact moment.
Okay.